At that moment, Ning Tian starts spanking the Queen Mother's butt. Embarrassed, the Queen Mother exclaims, "You actually dare to do this?" Immediately, several system notifications appear before Ning Tian. "You shocked the Queen Mother of the West. You shocked the Yaoqi Saint. Reward, Aura Cultivation 300. Ning Tian then says to the Queen Mother, "I'm a man after all. How could I not satisfy the Queen Mother of the West's request? It doesn't feel bad, quite refreshing." The Queen Mother gives a faint smile and says, "Patriarch, you hit me." She immediately sits back on Ning Tian's lap and adds, "But you have to be responsible for your actions, right? What about tonight?" Ning Tian responds with a smirk, "What responsibility? Should I let you hit me in return?" Hearing this, the Queen Mother falls into an awkward silence. At that moment, the Saintess clears her throat with a cough and says, "Ahem, Holy Lord, you should stop messing around. We need to get down to business." The Queen Mother then climbs down from Ning Tian's lap and remarks, "What a boring man." Ning Tian calmly asks her, "Tell me, why did you come to see me?" The Saintess replies, "Patriarch, we came to you for one thing." The Queen Mother adds, "The roots of the 9 Phoenix Ice Grass." Hearing this, Ning Tian thinks, "What I need is the leaves of the 9 Phoenix Ice Grass, so I can give them the roots." Ning Tian pulls out the 9 Phoenix Ice Grass and says, "Sure, you can have it." As soon as the Queen Mother sees the 9 Phoenix Ice Grass, she cuts off its roots and says, "Thank you, Patriarch." Then Ning Tian said to the Queen Mother, "Queen Mother of the West, you made me spend hundreds of millions of spirit coins for nothing during the auction. How are you going to compensate me for that?" The Queen Mother replied, "How do you want to be compensated? I don't have any spirit coins, but there are 2 beauties here. What about that?" As she spoke, she suddenly moved very close to Ning Tian. Seeing this, Ning Tian blushed, and the Queen Mother leaned closer, gently blowing into his ear. Ning Tian's ears turned as red as a tomato. The Queen Mother added with a sly smile, "Or, I can give you a breath of fresh air." Embarrassed, Ning Tian shouted, "What kind of compensation is this?" The Queen Mother casually responded, "There's no other way. I don't have any spirit coins, and since you don't want special compensation, this is the only option left." Frustrated, Ning Tian replied, "Whatever. I just need you to answer a question for me. Have you heard of the Thunderheart fruit?" The Queen Mother paused to think and said, "I know a thing or two about it." Ning Tian quickly asked, "Where is it?" The Queen Mother answered, "It's in the forbidden royal area of the Supreme Divine Kingdom. We can't enter there." Ning Tian murmured to himself, "Forbidden royal area. Is it that hard to enter? Forbidden royal area. The Mirror Moon Pavilion." At that moment, Ning Tian remembered Princess Yuling and suddenly shouted, "I got it. Isn't there a perfect candidate for this?" Then the Queen Mother and the Saintess begin to leave. And Ning Tian says to the Queen Mother, "Thank you, Queen Mother of the West." The Saintess also says, "See you, Patriarch." The Queen Mother responds, "I'm glad to be of help to the Patriarch. We will take our leave for now. We will be staying in Shenzhou City for the next few days. If there are any problems, come to us." After they leave, Ning Tian puts his mask back on. He thinks to himself, "But how can I make Princess Yuling take me to the forbidden royal area? Seduction? No, it would be hard with that face." At that moment, someone knocks on Ning Tian's door and says, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, are you there?" Hearing the voice, Ning Tian thinks, that voice. Is it really her? Just then, Princess Yuling opens the door and steps inside. She says to Ning Tian, "I want to speak with you, so please hear me out." Ning Tian looks at her and says, "Come in, and let's talk." Hearing this, Princess Yuling is surprised and thinks happily, "Hey, I thought he would shut me off mercilessly, but he actually invited me in. It must be my sincerity and efforts that moved him." Now, as they sit facing each other, Ning Tian says to Princess Yuling, "Please go on." Princess Yuling says to Ning Tian, "I came here this time because I hope that fellow Taoist Ning Shuai will come to the Forbidden Royal Area, the Mirror Moon Pavilion, with me for a chat." Ning Tian asks her, "The Forbidden Royal Area? Princess Yuling is asking me again and again. It must be something important. It would be unkind to refuse, so I will come with you." At the same time, he thinks to himself, I'm simply happy to be helping others, always kind and generous. Princess Yuling says with enthusiasm, good. Meanwhile, she thinks actually if you look at Ning Shuai more often and get used to him, you'll find him quite handsome. She then says, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, why don't you come to the Mirror Moon Pavilion with me now? Ning Tian replies, sure. Meanwhile, outside the building, a young woman stands next to a horse and says, horse, I really think you're cute. She suddenly pulls out a knife and continues, but my senior sister said a distinguished guest is coming, and you're the Shadow Gale horse I found with great difficulty. Seeing the knife, the horse trembles in fear and starts sweating profusely. The woman approaches with the knife and says, if you want to blame someone, blame the distinguished guest. That poor horse, I feel sorry for it.